Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be diagnosed with a disease that would leave you disabled and not able to continue your journey in nursing? Well, my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer, and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to equip healthcare professionals to be wealthy in all areas of their lives. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders that have overcome so that know that the possibilities are endless. You can follow us on Twitter at the Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. And if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. We have a group called the Nurse Nurturer on Facebook that you can join to receive uplifting content for healthcare professionals. Visit us at our website at vpnursing.com. And remember to click the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and leverage the knowledge you already know as a nurse. Our special guest today is Monique Lee. Thank you for showing up
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Now, I want you to give us a brief bio of you and what was your primary reasoning for becoming a healthcare professional, a nurse?
Okay, well, I grew up overseas. My father was in the military, career Air Force, so I didn't actually move to the United States to live until 1993. He retired here in Wilson. And I attended Wilson Community College, great nursing program there, and then went back and got my University of Aspen and got my BSN just a year in 2020. So why did I become a nurse? In 2003, my mother passed away of breast cancer. But prior to that, my grandmother, my aunt, all died in that same time frame. So in 18 months, I lost the three matriarchs in my life. And I felt myself just being pulled to do something different, something impactful of my life to make a difference with the experiences I had been through. And so I ended up in nursing. Never thought I would be here, but here I am.
Here you go. I love it. I love it. Now, when we talked the other day, you told me that you suffered from, and I may get this wrong, Kerataconus.
Kerataconus.
Okay.
Kerataconus.
Now, tell the audience what happens to you when you're diagnosed with this disease process.
So keratoconus is a disease where your corneas are curved. So most people, your corneas are flat, and you may have to have some type of adjustment with glasses to adjust your vision, either seeing far or seeing near. Your corneas help you focus in when you're trying to see. So if your corneas are curved, you can't focus. I was originally diagnosed in 1999. Woke up one morning and my right eye just was tearing profusely and went to the optometrist, and he sent me immediately to Vidant and to see an ophthalmologist there who told me you have keratoconus and you eventually you'll need some help with that, but it's a slow progressing disease and it may take many years before you will need something. 3 weeks later, my cornea ruptured.
Wow.
And I found myself waiting to get a transplant. And so that was on a Friday afternoon. I was scheduled to go on vacation to Las Vegas, and there were no corneas available. So I got on the plane with very large dark glasses and painkillers, eye drops that numbed my eye, and went on my trip. And when I came home, hit the answering machine and found out that I indeed had a donor and I was going to get a cornea transplant. So that was in 1999. And I was very thankful. I got my transplant and I continued on working and being a mom and all those wonderful things. And then about 2014, 13, I started to notice some changes in my vision. And one day I was at the kitchen counter and I went to pour something into a glass container and it went all over the counter. And the top was still on the container. I did not realize it. So my disease has slowly progressed. And unbeknownst to me, it had also traveled to my left eye. So at that time, I had to seek further assistance. And when I finally found a doctor in UNC Kidney Eye Center, he looked at me and said, very quickly, you're not going to be able to continue to work as a nurse. Of course, I was devastated. My vision at that time was about 20/2200 and quickly progressed to 20/2700. Glasses could no longer fix the problem. My corneas were so curved and pointed that I needed something to suppress them in order for me to be able to see. And that's where I was first introduced to sclera lenses, which is where I wear to this day. And they are a lens that is curved. It's curved like a comb-shaped cup, and you actually insert saline in it, and then it's suctioned into your eye each morning, which allows your corneas to be compressed flat so that you can see. And with those sclera lenses, I have 20/40 in one eye and 20/20 in the other eye.
Ah, I love it. Oh my
Yes. But there are many challenges with that.
Oh my God. Now, what were your feelings when you were first diagnosed? You know, when he told you that you couldn't continue as a nurse, you were devastated, and just what was your plan? Like, what were you thinking?
I didn't have a plan. I was in this nursing career that I love, that God had called me to, and I was devastated. But, I thought, well, God, you called me to this and you will get me through this. And, my doctor surely looked at me and said, you're going to have to consider disability. And I said, when the Lord tells me I need to consider disability, I'll consider disability. And so not without many challenges, we are still here providing nursing care, of course, in a very different platform today than I was in 2014. But God has sustained me. He has provided financially, because sclera lenses are not covered with your insurance. It's out-of-pocket expense. And my first pair was $2,000. Your corneas can continue to progress at any time. So every 6 months, you're going and getting checked. And if there's a change in your curvature, you need new lenses.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yep, exactly.
Now, so I guess it impacted your nursing career. So how did it impact your nursing career?
So I had to leave the bedside. Obviously, I could no longer start an IV. I just could not see the bevel of the needle. I couldn't work underneath the bright fluorescent lights in the hospitals. It was too much of a strain on my eye. My eyes are very sensitive to bright lights. The sclera lenses, when I first got them, I could only wear them for 4 hours a day. And so when they're out, I can't see. I can't drive. I can't cook. I can't leave my house. I can't watch TV. I'm literally like a blind person. I can see shadows, but that's about it. And things that are right here in front of my face, but that's about it for me. So I had to figure out what I was going to do. And at that time, I only had an associate's degree, and I didn't know what opportunities would be available for me outside of the traditional bedside positions. And I was very blessed, and God provided opportunities. Shortly after getting my sclera lenses, I was hired as the director of the hospice program at Wilson Medical Center. And so that took me away from the bedside. Of course, it put me in front of a computer all day long, and there were other challenges with that, with my kerataconus. So, but yeah, I miss the bedside tremendously. I miss that one-on-one patient care. I've been able to since go back and do some of that on a very short term basis, a couple times a week, maybe a couple hours a day, but nothing full time again.
And that's one of the things that that we always want to highlight, is that as a nurse, like literally, you can do anything. Anything.
Absolutely.
There is no limit to the things that you can do. And so I'm super excited that you were able to pivot, right? Because it's those turning points, right, that help you get to where you need to be. Now, what are some of the ways that you were able to cope with the stress and anxiety that comes with it?
First, I have my faith. That's always going to be first. And I look to that. I had a church family. I had a strong inner circle support system of friends. And then, of course, my husband and my children. And they were my biggest advocates in pushing me forward. And I literally, for the first 6 months, could not put my lenses in by myself. So every morning before my husband went to work, I had to get up so he could put my lenses in for me, because I couldn't do it. It was that complicated. And so without having those people in place, and then he taught our oldest daughter that's in the home how to do that, without having those people in place, I would not have survived. So
I think that is very cool, because what happens a lot of time, us as women, we try to not ask for help, right?
Absolutely.
Because we want to stand on our own 2 feet, and the reality is that many hands make light work, right? And so I mean, if we can just get the help, then we're good, right?
That's
but
right.
A lot of
That's
times
right.
we just don't ask for that help. We just go on our own. And Lord, I have been guilty of that one for sure.
Same. Well, we're equipped and modeled to take everything on and to think we need to do everything, and it's hard to reach out and ask for help when you're used to providing and doing and being there as a mom and your mom, and so everybody looks to mom. They walk right past dad every day.
That's right.
To ask mom a question. So mom is used to doing everything, and then as a nurse, we have the other side of used to doing and being everything. So it all carries over from one part of our lives to the other.
And it puts a lot of stress on us too. And, and that's probably one of the reasons why, because, nursing, of course, is a largely female, population, right?
Absolutely.
And so, we take on that stress every single solitary day. Now, you were in an interracial marriage. So tell us what are some of the trials that you face? And because you expressed before we got on that you're not used to this.
Well,
so tell me about what you're not used to and then what you had to get used to.
Well, I'm not used to people staring. I'm used to it now, but I was not used to it first. Glenn and I started dating, to people staring and looking and questioning, well, what's it like to date a white man? Well, he's a man like any other man. So if you dated a man, you know what it's like. There's not much difference there. But, just questioning. And of course, I'm not going to deny there aren't different cultural barriers that we face in our relationship. We've learned to work through those by the grace of God and a yearning to work through them, because we do love each other and we have this wonderful relationship that we count on. But just the challenges of our children, they look at Glenn as daddy, they call him father, and, people stop and stare. We'll be in line somewhere. And if, for example, I've been to the restroom and Glenn's gotten in line, I've come out and gotten in line, and that woman just cut in front of that man. And so, of course, we try to have fun with it. Glenn will reach over and hug me or kiss me or something. And then, of course, you hear all the talking and going on. I think one of the biggest challenges I faced was when I went to work at Duke. I had patients that would walk in and say, "Oh, finally a Black nurse." And I'd say, "Excuse me? Well, you know how those white people are." And I said, "Oh, I do. I'm married to one." then it was a whole nother gamut, So you have to take it with a grain of salt, and you have to have fun with it. If not, you can become very bitter. But I just was not raised that way. I was raised in a military family. We traveled all over the world. And if I dislike someone, it has nothing to do with the content. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin, but with the content of your character.
That's right. I love it. That is too funny. I love that. Now, tell us about someone who has impacted your leadership journey and in nursing, and why were they so impactful?
So, two people come to mind when I think of who's impacted my nursing journey. The first would be Catherine Godfrey, who is a retired nurse from Wilson Medical Center. And Catherine was my preceptor through my LPN program and my RN program. When I began to work at Wilson Medical Center as a CNA, she was the charge nurse on the floor there. And it just so happened that I was able to have her mentor me all those years from CNA to RN. And at the same time, there was a young lady working on the floor at the time, Stephanie McKeithen. She's now a nurse practitioner. And she was a registered nurse at the time, and someone who I just happened to connect with. And I admired her for her integrity, her nursing skills, the way she was able to calm any situation, and just her perseverance. And we now have developed a wonderful relationship and are best friends. We've traveled to 3 different hospitals to work together. And she continues to impress me with her determination and how she excels in life. And so those have definitely been the 2 role models for me as far as nursing and leadership. But my mother, of course, set all this into play, because as she was dying from cancer and I was able to take care of her, is when the nursing came about for me. And so she will always be the reason that I came into nursing, and the reason that I do what I do and care for others the way I do, because of her.
I love it. I love it. Our parents they shape for sure who we are and how we are, for sure. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. I mean,
That's
really
right.
do. They really do. So one of the some of the biggest challenges you think facing nursing leaders today, and how do you think they can navigate through those challenges?
Wow. Well, of course, we're in a COVID era. And so nursing leaders and nurses themselves need to advocate to make sure they're getting Number one, if they're on the front lines, that they have that proper protective equipment, they have what they need to do their job and be effective. But we don't advocate for ourselves well as nurses. And often, you hear it from day one, nurses eat their young. Unfortunately, we still continue to do that. I don't think on a large scale like we did when I first started out nursing, but we still see leaders eating their young, and it's not a competition. Our goal is to provide the best outcome for the patients, and that should be a common goal. But unfortunately, we're in an era where it's a competition now, and it's unfortunate because there are so many leaders I've met along the way that the people underneath them could have learned so much more from them if they just had stopped to think, I was in your shoes once. It's where I came from, because we all have started out as a new person, the new kid on the block, and the new leader. And regardless of where we're at, it's one click of a button and we could be right back where we started from, or even worse off. And I think we forget that. And we forget that one day someone's going to have to fill our shoes. And if we're not educating them and nurturing them, how are we going to prepare them for the future?
And it's very important that we prepare, like you said, the next healthcare professional. You want to work yourself out of a job. And see, people don't think of it that way. People think of it as we're, like you said, it's a competition. I don't want you to know any more than I know so that you don't have a leg up on me. But the reality is that you want everyone to know, because that's best for the patient. Period.
That's right.
That's for the patient. At the end of the day, that's what we're here for. And advocating for ourselves is huge. And I always like to tell that story of that lady from Washington who started talking about us playing them cards. And that's when I knew. I was like, these nurses right here, they're going to get her, Yes. And so it's super, super important. One of the things that John Maxwell talks about in his Law of the Lid, he talks about one of the leadership principles. He said that whenever there was this guy that he went into resorts and he would revamp the resort. And when he got into the resort, he said that if the resort was not thriving, there's two things that he would do. The one thing that he would do is he would train the frontline staff. The second thing that he would do is he would fire the CEO. And he said, well, why would you fire the CEO? And he said, because it's the law of the lid. He said, you can't rise any higher than your lid is. If your leader is not, if your leader's a 5, you can't go any higher than a 4. Right. And so that's one of the things that he talked about. And I was like, it's very interesting, because you want to give your staff, you don't want to give them necessarily what they want, but you want to give them what they need to succeed, right? And if you give them what they need, then if they're a mature, adult, a mature nurse or a mature healthcare professional, they're going to survive and they're going to thrive in that area, because that's what we need in order to be able to survive and thrive. So that is so, so true. So now, what is one mistake that you see leaders make more frequently than others?
Not tapping into the knowledge of those beneath us, or not beneath us, those that are coming into the profession freshly. These young people who are coming in nursing now have so much more knowledge than us. And that sounds like, well, I've been a nurse 15 years or 20 years, but they are seeing it with fresh eyes. And we forget that if we sometimes become used to a routine and we want to do it the way we've always done it. Well, sometimes that's not the best way to do it. And listening to their input and seeking their advice and pulling them into that boardroom or pulling them into that new project and saying, what is your point of view? How do you see this? How does this affect your generation? Because isn't that what we're here for now, is the next generation? That we've got to prepare them to take care of the generation underneath them. And if we don't take care of the generation underneath us, how are we going to do that? And making sure sometimes this isn't the right fit for them. Sometimes this isn't the right career. So helping them see all possibilities in that and seeing where they best fit. I knew from day one I could never be a labor and delivery nurse, because I couldn't do it. I don't do whiny. And so I remember my nursing instructor pulling me out of my clinicals during labor and delivery. And she said, you're one of my best students. What's wrong? And I said, what do you mean? She said, your bedside manner that lady in labor was horrible. And I didn't even realize it. She said, you just looked at her like, get over it and push the baby out. And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. But looking back, that's the way I felt. And does that make me and compassionate person, no, it wasn't the right fit for me. Have I still gone on and been a nurse? Absolutely. So making sure that they find the right fit for them and making sure that we're actually pulling them in and nurturing them, loving on them, teaching them, and allowing them to be the best they can be, and making sure that this is the journey they want to be on, because we want nurses who want to be here. You know, a lot of people think, oh, nurses is about the paycheck. It's not about the paycheck. It shouldn't be about the paycheck, because whatever you do in life, you need to do it so that you're happy doing it. This is what you're going to do the rest of your life, hopefully. And you want to be, of course, profitable at it, but you want to enjoy it. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it to the best of your ability. You're not going to give it 100%.
That's right. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And so that was, that is such a key pointer. And when the younger generation, our Gen Xers, Gen Zers, or whatever those numbers, millennials, whatever they are. I mean, whenever they come in, you want to make sure that you give them that voice, because a lot of times they know how to do it a lot more efficiently than we may know how to do it, because we've just done it the way that we've done it the whole time. And so you want to navigate and you want to change the trajectory of kind of how it is done, right? In order to be able to affect more patients than we currently are. So yes, I mean, just giving them the freedom to do that.
And embrace that, because that is going to make the patient outcome better.
That's right.
And that's going to make the patient outcome. And that's our bottom line, is how are we helping the patient? How are we taking this person who, for whatever reason, is here and has a compromised life or a compromised health system, and putting them back out there in the community to be the best they can be?
And you want to really, really leverage you want to do what's most efficacious for the patient, for the staff member, and for the organization.
That's right.
And
That's right.
You pour into your staff members and let them leverage their knowledge and leverage their efficiency. They better take care of the patient. And, at the end of the day, healthcare is a business. Is better for the bottom line of the business, period.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think as nurses, we need to remember, I always tell people, my CNAs are my eyes and ears. Don't discount your CNAs, because you can't do your job without your CNAs. You can't do your job without lab tech. It's a team effort. Right. You cannot come in here and do every single thing that needs to be done for this patient without all the other parties that work together to make that work. And CNAs they do not get their due ever. You can't appreciate them enough, because their job is hard. It is hard, and it is thankless sometimes. And so to me, you've got to embrace every part of your team.
Now, what are you doing to ensure that you're growing as a leader?
So, well, I'm here with you today. I'm networking, and that's important.
Right.
Thank you, Viola, for having me. I'm continuing to educate myself. I'm branching out. I'm always looking at new opportunities. I'm considering going back to school now to get my master's degree. I mean, why not? You're never too old to stop learning. And so whether I ever use that in a nursing capacity or not, but you've got to continue educating yourself, because the world is constantly changing, and you need to be in the front of that ball that's rolling so that you can be the best that you can be. So education, networking, and just, looking around and looking for opportunities to serve in a nursing capacity in different roles.
Gotcha. I love it. Now, how do you define success?
Success is different for everybody, and it depends on where you're at in your journey. I've seen a lot of things. I've been to many places across the world, but I have my home. I have my family. I have a life that I am pleased with. And so to me, that's successful. And other people may not look at it and see that way. I have a career I love, a career that I will do until they call me home. And, I will be on my way to my funeral. I need to see one more patient. I need to take one more phone call. Hold on just a minute. So that's successful to me. When I can lay my head on my pillow at night. My life verse is Matthew 25:40. Whatever you've done to the least of these, you've done unto me. And if I can lay my head on my pillow at night and feel like that I have lived that life verse, then that's success to me.
Love it. Now, how do you define wealth?
Wealth is being satisfied with what you have and where you're at in life, because wealth is hard to obtain but easy to lose if you're looking at it in a financial and monetary standpoint. So wealth isn't always about the bottom line when it comes to what's in your bank account. Wealth is about health. It's about happiness, and it's about serving mankind.
I love
That's
it.
well for me.
I love it. Thank you, Monique, for coming on
Thank you for
today. You
having
have
me.
been absolutely wonderful. My
I
name
enjoyed
is
it.
Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to equip healthcare professionals to be wealthy in all areas of their lives. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders such as Monique that have overcome so that you can know that the possibilities are endless. You can follow us on Twitter at The Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And please share this video. We have a group called The Nurse Nurturer on Facebook that you can join to receive uplifting content for healthcare professionals. Visit us at our website at vpnursing.com. And remember to hit the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and leverage the knowledge that you already know as a nurse. You guys have a phenomenal, phenomenal day.